episode 4 of Megaminds Podcast. With our episode of today, we're going to cover the dark side of technologies and with a focus on cybercrime and digital threats. So welcome to my two guests, Topandula and Kaylen. So what can you tell us about yourself? We want our viewers to know more about thank you.
Sorry. It's just nearly went from Topandula to thank you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so like you said, my name is Topandula Wanga. I studied at NAS for my cybersecurity degree. Currently, I'm working at Honest as a SOC analyst level 2. Okay. So SOC stands for Security Operational Center. So if I have to give a short description of what we do, so basically we have clients and then we just monitor the environment for any suspicious activity.
Okay.
Yes, and I have a few certificates in cybersecurity. So I have to mention a few. I have the certified SOC analyst, I have a certified threat intelligence, I have my certified ethical hacking, I have my security plus, and I also have my network plus.
Okay.
Yes.
So what's next? It seems like you are really into certificates and all that. So what's next for you?
Currently, I am busy with my Linux Plus.
Oh, okay. That's good.
From Linux Plus, I will be moving maybe to CISSP.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully.
Good. Yes, Kaylen, tell us more about yourself.
So my name is Kaylen. I recently finished my bachelor's in cybersecurity, currently doing my honors in digital forensics. I am also working on my CEH and my security plus. Recently I started working with scripting and creating malware. So that's kind of the direction I'm going for, penetration testing and all that. So yeah, it's just still new in the career.
Yes.
Yeah, so just to ask, like, I was told that cybersecurity is so demanding in terms of the workload and all that. So why would you ladies want to do something like that, knowing that later on maybe your partners will also seek for attention? So how are you going to handle that? Yes, you can.
I used to feel it's very demanding. You have to continuously upskill yourself. You need to do continuous training, like especially with everything that's emerging so quickly in the field. It's difficult to keep up with everything, but I would say that it's kind of you have to do with what you find is important. If you think your career is important, you'll spend more time there. If your personal life is more important. But if you want to have that kind of balance, I would say that if you manage your time correctly, it would be fine. And if you have a partner that also wants attention, especially since we're young, we can already build so much of our skills. So later on, it will become a lot easier. There's more space in between your training. So I would say that, yeah, starting young is a plus.
Okay, good. Yes, thank you.
So studying in cybersecurity for everyone is the hardest.
Okay.
It's first-hand experience. It takes everything of your time, all your time. But if you're young, that's fine, because since when you're young, you don't have kids or you're not married. But then,
So am I older? I'm so young, but
but then you started out with your career earlier.
yeah.
So you already had that. You already experienced how demanding it can become. And then as time goes by, you learn how to balance both.
Yes, yeah.
So it comes with experience. It's not, there's no book for it that you can read to be like, oh, you need to do this, because we are all different.
Yeah.
But then the most important thing is, if you do have a partner, you need to discuss it.
Okay.
So just to say, or friends or family, you just need to say like, guys, I'm doing this, my work is this and this and this. But then with your work, you must also know when to let go.
Okay.
That's also a difficult part for most.
Okay. So we are talking about cybercrime and digital threats. So what's your understanding of cybercrime? Yes.
Cybercrime, you can say it's when an individual or a group of people, they try to purposely inflict like violence or harm on another person, like digitally, or like using a computer to blackmail somebody, using their own information or something like that.
So what you're saying is that cybercrime is just like similar to a traditional crime, but it's just that here technology is involved.
Yes.
So it's crime being done through tech.
Yes.
So okay, good. Thank you. Now looking at since you're both into the security industry, what are those threats that Namibia is currently facing, or Namibian companies are facing, or individuals are facing?
So the threats that I've currently seen is Namibian companies are ransomware.
What's that?
So ransomware is when an attacker tries to encrypt your data. So
What is encrypt? Some of us don't know.
so encryption is when your data, you don't have access to your data.
Mm.
So you don't have access to your computer. That's what encrypts in simple terms.
Okay.
So there are two types of ransomware. So sometimes an attacker just wants to get your information. They do not encrypt anything, they just steal your data.
So
And then they sell
that's
it
more
back to you.
exploitation, isn't it?
Yes, and then they sell it back to you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the ones that do double extortion, whereby they do encrypt and then they do sell your data.
Mm-hmm.
So that we've seen in Namibia. We've also seen business email compromise, where an attacker it compromises the business email.
Mm-hmm.
I think I explained.
Okay. So, which means that, does it mean that the mail server is affected or someone has access to their emails?
So it can be both.
Okay.
So the first one is when the mail server is compromised, so the attacker does have access to it. The second one is, let's say a user clicked on an email and then this attacker got access to their email address, so they have now full access.
Thank you. You have explained to us what is cybercrime, what are the type of crimes that you are currently seeing in the market, like the tech crime. So now, for Kellen, since you're doing forensics, and thank you, what I'm getting from you is that you are more into information security, so which is more of like putting measures in place to prevent attack, prevents malicious activities from occurring, and on your side it's more of like something malicious have happened, that you come in and try to remediate all these things, to put in all the control so that it doesn't happen again, or do the investigations and all that. So what are those types of cyber crimes that are so difficult to investigate?
Personally, I would say think like malware, especially those ones that can easily transform themselves. Like you call them polymorphic attacks, yeah. So when it comes to investigating something like that, it's kind of difficult because now every time say it switches to a different VLAN, it changes how it looks. So it's difficult to find exactly what you're looking for because now it's a virus, in the next VLAN it's a worm. So it keeps on changing. So I think that's one of the most difficult ones to kind of investigate. Yeah.
So now, thank you on your side. What can you put in place to prevent such activities from happening? Because now it might be so difficult to do the investigation, so meaning as part of your incident response, it might actually take longer for you to like contain that incident and all that. So what are the controls that you can put in place to mitigate some of these threats?
Okay, so the first one is the most important one, user awareness. So telling your users that, guys, always your PCs must be updated. If you see that yellow pop-up on the corner, please click on it and update your PC, because we've seen whereby that's the cause of where malware was detected and then somebody didn't update it. So usually attackers use that as something, they use that to get into the PC because it's an outdated version that's being used.
But on the other side as well is that not all updates fix a problem. You see, not all updates are fixes. So it might be that while I update my PC because there's issues. So what would you recommend to companies or to individuals? Should you just keep on clicking there, or should IT take responsibilities or security take responsibilities to patch all the devices within our network?
To patch all the devices, but then sometimes, let's say they use, there's now the new thing of working from home. So it's very hard for them to execute the GPO, especially when the user is not connected to the domain or to the network. So it's back again, so they need to update their PCs, or there needs to be an alert to say that there is an update, can you please update this? And then also now the antivirus should always, comes back to updates, should always be up to date.
Yeah, but why giving that responsibility to the users? Why not the security team or the IT team doing it, let's say, from a centralized location, and push all these updates to the users, even if they're not connected to the network, but as long as they have Wi-Fi connectivity or as long as they have internet connectivity, they can still receive these updates. Because what you've also seen is that if you tell a user that just to go and click on updates, what if they're at a coffee shop whereby a malicious actor already have access to that router, and now your updates are actually not coming from Microsoft, it's this malicious user trying to push fake updates into your PC. So what can you do, or what can you put in place to prevent users from patching what they're not supposed to patch?
By having the administrator. If you want to run an update, it's only an admin that can run the updates.
Okay, but now you told me that I need to click that yellow sign. So, yes, thank you. So now it becomes so difficult. So what I think that companies need to do is that, yes, as mentioned, awareness. Yes, that's very important. But to also have tools in place to come as a compositing control on top of those user awareness sessions. Because yes, you've done your user awareness session and all that, but to go and click on that update and to know if this update is legit, you don't have that on your different platforms that you have like before and all that. They will not be able to. You can come up with videos to train the users on doing that, but that's still more of like a you cannot give that responsibility to the users. Security is supposed to push these updates to the users, and they know that updates are coming from decentralized repository, so it's trusted. Now can push to all the users. And again, before doing that, let's first test them, because these updates must cause issues and all that. And one thing that maybe you should have mentioned as well is that like the SIMs. So when, as you mentioned, the polymorphic malware or virus. Now what you can do is that as part of your SIM, you can see all the behaviors of the users, all the patterns, all the activities happening. So you can already pick something that's not legitimate and you can block it. So you can kind of be, yes, it's reactive, but at least you reduce the hours or the time or the minutes to detect this activity. So I think those are also things that companies should start investing, having like SIM solutions. What do you guys think? Is it a good thing to have a SIM?
Yes.
Okay, good. So we always hear about phishing, ransomware, malware, all these type of terms. Now, how can you defend against phishing whereby you don't have any anti-phishing solution in the company? What control can you put in place to fight these phishing attempts?
Multi-factor authentication can also work in case they did get compromised and the user did click. So in order for an attacker to get access, you can use MFA.
Yeah.
And
what is MFA? Just say it in more details, like layman's term.
so multi-factor authentication is whereby you use two controls in order for you to access that specific platform, or to access that specific platform, such as you use messages. So the user puts in their credentials, but as soon as they click on login, they get a message or an OTP that they have to enter, and then they can get access.
Okay. Yeah, Kaylin, what do you think you can do to mitigate phishing?
I think it still comes back to user training, user awareness, so that you teach them that this is how things work in one. It's no longer that Nigerian prince that wants to send you money or whatever incident.
I love Nigeria so much. Why are you saying Nigeria prince? Okay, cool, yeah, I know it. Yeah.
So it does come back to user training, because since ChatGPT has been around now, it does create say proper messages. So it's difficult to detect if this is true or not when someone uses AI to create a message for them. So just training them on what to expect, how things look these days in the modern world that we live in now. So I think it does come back to user training.
Okay, what I've also seen with many companies is that they buy all these awareness platform, but their users are still falling victim of phishing. So where do you see the gap, or where can they improve in mitigating all this? Because it doesn't help buying a tool that costs you like 100K because you wanted to raise awareness in the company, but in terms of engagement, your users are not even engaged, so they're not even welcoming the platform, so they don't even attend to this awareness training that you're doing, all these phishing campaigns, they are not paying attention to it. So what can you do to motivate the users to take all these measures, all these tools, all this investment serious?
If I can answer, there are multiple ways that you can do it, because I feel like for people they need to be motivated. So you could do to say the first person to finish this training gets $1,000 voucher to Spa.
Okay.
Or the first person, or randomly, because I feel like each company has internal meetings once a month, so whereby you just randomly do trivia questions. What does this say? And then the person that answers it correctly gets something.
Okay, so what you're saying is that you must put some incentive to your awareness program to motivate people to take part into this. Yes, Kaylin.
I can say you can maybe show them a real life scenario of how it will also affect their personal life and not just the business itself. So if they can see that if this is what's happening at work and it happens to me personally as well, I would be more likely to want to engage in this training, so I can teach myself like no one wants to lose their own money. So if you can show them that this is a real world scenario, not just affecting your work life but also your personal life, I think they would be more interested in wanting to do the training to teach themselves and upskill themselves as well.
What I would like to add is that when you look at the KPIs of individuals or of a company, I think cybersecurity is supposed also to be part of that. So let's say we will know that a company is performing well, whereby we had, like, let's say, 0 cyber attack. So that's already one criteria as a company's KPI. Now you go to the individual's KPIs to say that, okay, fine, we look at how many trainings has this person completed, how many phishing mail did the person detect. Now you have like a leaderboard to say, like, the top 10 by the end of a year, these are the people that are going to get a reward. I think that's going to motivate it, and also have your department heads accountable for the team's performance. Because if I know that if my team is not doing well in terms of user awareness, it's going to affect my performance, and being the boss, I don't want that to be, I don't want to have that bad image. So I will force people under me to also execute and also to communicate, so to be like the champion for this program. So I think those are things companies can also try to explore. Any tool that you can recommend for companies to use when it comes to cybersecurity awareness?
Know before. Yes.
What I would say about Know Before is that it's a good tool, but it's too expensive. So it's like you buying a truck to do taxi business. Yes, you can use a truck for taxi business because you can go to all the places and all that, but do you really need a truck? You see, you can go get a donkey Botswana and do the taxi business. Now, why am I saying that is that Know Before itself is so expensive, and what you really get out of it, other cheap tools can also do the same job. So, but what I've seen as a challenge with the Namibian market is that it's more of like, how will I put it, is that when one company is using Know Before and one wants to buy, let's say, an awareness platform, they say, buy Know Before, buys Know Before, next also buys Know Before. So Know Before became like the common tool in Namibia when it comes to cybersecurity awareness. But you actually get cheaper tools, like with EC Council, you have like Aware. That's a way cheaper than you know before. So those are things they can also use. And on top of that, even have like face-to-face sessions. You engage with your team and you just explain to them, you do the demos, they can see it. Because videos, what I've seen at one company is that one individual actually said that when I receive a training from IT to do awareness, like to watch a video related on awareness, what I do, I just play it on this on my extended screen. I play it there, I'm doing my job. Until the video is complete, I just tick there, have you completed this, I tick. So to them it's all about ticking a box because they're not really getting the why. So you can still have your Know Before and still get hacked and still receive phishing emails, people still click on those phishing emails. So I think having face-to-face engagement and doing the demos, that's gonna help more. Cool. So cybersecurity to individuals. Do you have any experience? Have you ever experienced any cyber attack? You as an individual or your loved ones, if they ever experience any cyber attack?
I think more like, it's not a cyber attack, maybe just an accident where you download movies or music and then you accidentally download like malware or something and all of a sudden you don't understand what's happening to your computer and those things. So I think being aware of what kind of sites you visit, where you download your music or your movies and those things should also be known.
So what you're trying to tell us that you never faced any cyber attack yet?
Not really an attack, more just such kind of accidents that happen.
Okay. T.Y.?
Personally, on my side, I haven't, but then I have been in a situation where somebody did fall a victim on a cyber attack, whereby all their personal information was on the internet. So this had details regarding their banking details, their medical aid details, but then this is due to because of the negligence of the company. So the company was negligent and then they got hacked and then the person's data was released. But since Namibia does not have any data protection law,
which is still in draft here.
Yes. So this person cannot really do anything or sue the company because of their data being online because of the company.
I think there's still a way to sue a person, even though we don't have a data protection bill yet, but just the fact that because of negligence, because I believe for doctors, or they're supposed to keep customers' information confidential. So I think that person can still be sued, even though there's no bill and all that. I think the person can still be sued. But again, it's also to understand that sometimes as a doctor, you do not even know that there's cyber attacks. So it also comes to you also putting yourself in that person's shoe, to be like, if I sue this person, and like how will you feel? Like, they are not really aware, so it's not really their fault unless it is proof that they did it in with their own intentions, that they knew what they were doing. Then yes, then you can sue them. But if something that just came as a mistake, I think we should just maybe just guide them on how to protect information so that in future the same doesn't happen. Good. Okay, so what are the consequences that companies can face in case of a cyber attack?
In a bank, you can be fined by bond.
Okay.
So if
What is bond? Bicycle of Namibia or what?
sorry, I will be using a lot of acronyms. Bank of Namibia. So if a bank gets attacked, Bank of Namibia can fine them for negligence, and Bank of Namibia has, I think, rules, legislations. You must help me.
Yeah, they have regulations. We have like a bit 30 Bank of Namibia that focuses on information security. So they tell you what you should do and all that. Yeah. Yes, there's a bit, yeah.
And let's say one of our critical infrastructures get hacked. There can be a crash, but that can cause havoc.
Yeah.
Okay, that can cause havoc to the country, especially let's say if an oil company in Namibia gets attacked. We've seen how the pipeline in America, the colonial pipeline, got affected.
When was it? That's 2019?
2021.
2021, okay.
Yes. That kind of crippled the economy because Joe Biden even did a state of emergency regarding that. So if that had to happen in Namibia, that will cause a lot.
So which means that, like in the case of Namibia, we'll have to think of, let's say, like the likes of Namco, like if they get hacked, it means that the service stations will be down, so there'll be no petrol. So the taxi drivers will not be able to get petrol, and now people cannot go to jobs because the taxi drivers are not working, especially for some of us that don't have cars.
Yeah.
So now people cannot go to work, and this work, let's say if a person is working at a bank, so the customers will not be serviced, and this person who's supposed to get money to go buy products, let's say Pick and Pay, cannot go buy products at Pick and Pay, so Pick and Pay is also losing in terms of income, and this person is supposed to go resell those products. Now the customers are also not going to be serviced, so it's a whole chain that can be affected. So that's why there's really a need for cybersecurity to be taken serious by countries, by individuals, for us to really be on the safe side of things.
Yeah.
Yes, Keelan, do you have something to add?
I think maybe the reputation of the company, say it was a bank, if you constantly hear that this bank is constantly being hacked, constantly losing information, I wouldn't want to, personally I wouldn't want to bank with something like that because I don't know if my money is safe.
I would not really agree with that because it also, that's why many banks don't even disclose when they're hacked because they feel like our customers will not come to us anymore.
That's
You see, so they will prefer now to hide it, but which is not really helping. It's important to share so that we can all come together, discuss about it, and put security measures or controls to prevent this from happening. So I think we need to move from that mindset of saying that if the bank was hacked, I will not trust them because it can happen to anyone.
Yeah, no, personally, it can even happen to you alone when you, say someone calls you asking for OTP PIN and you think it's whoever. It cannot happen to you personally, so then you can only blame yourself. But if it's in the case of a reputation, especially a well-known company, if you heard that they were hacked or something, you start to feel like, is my thing safe, is my information, my money safe, those kind of things. So it does.
But you see, what's so bad about cybercrime is that if you hear that one of the branches of one of the commercial banks that you have was maybe like robbed, you're not gonna get your money. You're not gonna take your money out of that bank. You still keep your money there. But when it's a cybercrime, you feel like you should take your money out. And I don't know why people think like that. So I think we need to just change our mindset because stealing it physically or using tech, it's still money that is money that is living and all that. So yes, but yeah, maybe in future people will be more aware and understand that yes, cybercrime can happen, and let's just come together and think more positive.
I think it's more panic. When people panic, the first thing it is like my money is there, I need to take out. That's just, I think that's human nature. Like we saw that even on COVID with the toilet paper. When people were like, they're not producing toilet paper anymore. Everybody ran to the stores.
I did not do that.
It's just panic.
Yeah, panic.
So it's human nature to use. Your first instinct is myself, and then you don't care about the company. You're just like, myself, I need my money. Yes.
I think it also falls in like when people think cybercrime, they think it's just this guy sitting in a dark room, like on a computer doing these bad things. But sometimes it's not even like that. It's just maybe some kid in China or wherever trying to play, see what he can accomplish. And it's not even that serious. They were just having fun to them, but they don't understand the implications that they had on that.
Yes, correct. Yeah, you know, like many of these script kiddies, they're just hacking. To them, it's just like a game. They're just having fun, but the consequences can actually be huge. So, with your experience in cybersecurity, what are those cybersecurity events that were so stressful for you to deal with? That you faced so many challenges, but at least you came up to a good end. Do you have any example?
Okay, sorry. Mine is back again to ransomware. So the first challenge is top management.
Okay.
In Namibia, especially in the top management side, they do not understand. Okay, they have not grasped what cybersecurity is. So that's the first thing. They do not invest. They do not really want to invest. It's either what is attacked, how much it's gonna cost. Okay, and then if you say it's this amount, they're like, nah, I'm not gonna pay that amount. Can we lessen it? Then they go for the cheap option, and we all know if you attack, the cheap option is not always the best. The second thing is also the users. Can be very difficult. The IT person emailed like, we've been attacked. The users are like, okay, after an hour, can we go back online? You can't go back online. Again, afterwards, I have to send emails, I have to do this. They do not understand what has happened.
Yeah, but did you make them aware? Because
Yes.
sometimes you did not train them. So if I don't know something, don't say that. Yeah, like you need to make me aware of something, then I will have an understanding. But if I'm not aware of it, I think I'm free to ask you all the questions or to annoy you.
No, but then I think for this company, with user awareness is where they lacked. Because now you are in the instance of it happening. So you did send an email to your users, a ransomware has been attacked, that user cannot see, that's why their page is just, everything is white. But then since the user does not grasp or understand the full
so which means it's a mistake from the security team not making the users understand or aware of the ransomware, make them aware of ransomware and what are the consequences and what it means.
Yes. And then also a lot of pressure is put on the security team because now top management, the company is not running as a whole. So they get a lot of pressure to be like, guys, we need to start running because the more we are waiting, the more we are losing money. So it's on the IT side to get everything running, but at the same time, they need to understand how they got attacked. So that takes time. So that's also an issue that was seen in the Facebook.
So that means that's one lesson that you got from an incident that you investigated.
No.
Okay. So do you have any lessons from an incident that you investigated related to cybercrime?
Related to cybercrime. Let me. So now I have to think of one. Okay, an incident that I've investigated due to cybercrime is with Trojan. So
what is a Trojan? I'm asking. Yes, I want to know. Yes.
So a Trojan is, in layman's terms.
Okay,
so in layman's terms is we've all heard of, I believe it's the Greek or the Romans.
I think it's Greek.
It's the Greek. It's also a Bible story whereby which way it's the Greek? Sorry.
It's one of
them. Whereby there was war between the two countries or organizations. I don't know what to say because when somebody watches
let's just say two groups,
because if somebody watches it and then you know the story, because everybody basically knows the story. So what the one organization or the one group decided is, in order for us to go into their country their country, we need to build a horse. So inside the horse is where they put all their their army. And then they place the horse in front of... Guys, this is so difficult to explain. They put the horse in front of the gate, and then the other group thought, no, it's a present.
Okay.
But they didn't know that it has malicious intent. So when they let it in, it was actually the army. So the entire group got killed.
Okay.
Yes, so that goes the same way. So basically in IT, it is a Trojan horse is when a software seems legitimate, but it actually has malicious intent. Example, let's say you download an update from Windows. You download from a malicious site, Windows Update. It is actually Windows Update, but with it, it's something malicious script is attached to it.
Yeah, okay.
So antivirus cannot detect it because it actually is a legitimate application. But with the legitimate application, there is some malicious intent.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So yes. So what like the team that you brought to assist you in mitigating or to having full control of this, and what was your root cause?
Okay.
Yeah, as part of your incident response plan, because you need to go to your root cause as well to understand what caused it. So yes.
So if I have to answer your question again, so the people that were responsible for it, it was the SOC team members. So we split. So we have the level 1s and the level 2 and the SOC lead. And then from this other side, from the client side, we have the first responders. So the event was detected. So what happened was a user downloaded torrent. They have the torrent application, so downloading movies.
Yeah.
So this movie had torrent with it. It came with torrent, with a Trojan.
With Trojan, yes.
Yes. So it did not get detected. It did get detected, but the user ignored it when they were at home. So that's how it got infected. So it just started becoming slow and slow. So the SIEM detected this and then alerted to be like, there's a malicious file, and then the hash, if you put it, we put it in VirusTotal. This is now investigation purposes. You put it in VirusTotal, you run it through different vendors to see whether it is malicious, and it was flagged by multiple vendors. So what the other team, the client did was, first they responded to it by contacting the user, scanning the device for any malicious activity, and then they also removed the device from the network. For forensic purposes, they didn't switch off the device, but they did remove the...
So you disconnected the device from
The
whatever network it was connected
Yes.
to? Okay.
In order for it not to infect the rest. But then they did remove, they scanned it, they removed the application that was flagged as malicious, and then they had to reset everything.
Okay. So Kaylin, what can companies do to prevent such activities from happening?
If it's on a company computer, you can probably just block in those applications like torrent to stop people from downloading any movies or music and those kind of things. And also continuously updating their antivirus. So once somebody does download a file or something, even if it's something for work, it can be scanned as they're downloading it. Or once it's downloaded, before they can open it, it has to be scanned first. Because I know some antivirus does do that, where it first has to be scanned. Even Google does it, where if you want to download something, it gives you this option to keep it or to say discard or something like that. So having small things like that, especially when it comes to downloading things, this is where most of malware comes from anyways. So having those kind of things, or even having a, what you call that, a web, not a web analyzer, but it's a web security thing.
Web scanner.
Almost like that, but
Proxy or what?
yeah, almost like a proxy where if you download it, it also comes with the antivirus, malware bytes. Is it?
Oh, web protection.
Yeah, web protection. So it does like block the sites for you already before you can even go onto that site. So having such like small things can also go a long way.
And another thing, if I can add to Kaylin, is also the ports, to block the ports. Like
What are
only for
ports?
charging.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so the ports are...
So we're plugging the USBs.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So to block those.
To
But
block that, only for
No.
charging purposes, but
you see, the challenge with that is, if you block it, me as an accountant, maybe I want to copy a file to give it to the auditor or to somebody. So am I going to, like, I want my ports to be open, I want to do my activities. So why did you give me a laptop with a port that you don't want me to use? And you guys always say that if something is not being used, you should shut it. But I want to use these ports. So if you do not want me to use it, give me a laptop that doesn't have USB ports. So a user can also react like that.
yes, but then it can come with administrative privileges. You can do least privilege. We do know that everyone in the organization do not need to use the ports. The services, or not the services, the networking guys usually use the ports, so that you can put privileges to say that they can use the ports, but in order for them to actually execute it, they need to have admin rights.
Yeah, but how that is fair to me who's doing accounting? You give me a laptop with USB ports and I want to copy my files into the USB or from the USB, and you're telling me that I cannot have that access. So you are making my job difficult. Now if I used to do a task, let's say in 2 hours, now I have to do it longer because I had someone that used to assist me and I was giving this person a USB and we're doing everything via USBs. So now I cannot use USBs anymore.
Okay, I don't have a lot of information regarding accounting, but as far as I'm aware, usually is they do it on the laptop, and if I have to send something, I email it.
Yeah, but there are people that are so comfortable with USBs. They've been doing their job via USBs, they've been sharing USBs, but now you're setting up a policy where USBs are not allowed. So how are you going to convince me to accept what you're telling me?
Okay. Unfortunately, sometimes we need to be a little bit uncomfortable in order for things to be safe.
Okay.
So
what you're saying that we should prioritize on security than business?
You can do both.
Okay.
So for accounting, it comes back to least privilege. If let's say you do use, what other alternatives are there to use your USB?
Okay, so I think that's where maybe you can come in and say, okay, fine, you're gonna use, let's say, a shared repository where you guys just put your files there and anyone can access it and all that. The reason that we don't wanna enable the USB ports is because that's one entry where viruses can come. So we are trying to close all the loopholes to make sure that if there's any traffic coming, it's coming via, let's say, ABCD platform and not USB, because also controlling what USBs are being plugged and all that, it's just a difficult thing to do. And we've seen like with what is this tool called, like the USB ninjas. So someone can plug such things and have a company compromise, and the security team will not even be aware. So it's just those things that also should be a motivation to tell the individuals that let's not have USB ports enabled or open. But you can only achieve this once you've given the why to the users. Once the users understand the reason, the rest becomes easy.
Yeah.
I think maybe, sorry to add on that, like, when it comes to blocking the ports, or if you want to use a USB, then you can maybe have a company policy where you can only use company USBs that have been already vetted, they've already been scanned, and you can only share it internally with, say, the people that are in that office. Instead of taking it home to put your own personal things and then bring it back. Or if it's someone that you know really doesn't need a USB or the ports, you can just block it there. Say for a point of sale, there's no reason to put the USB into a point of sale. So then you can block it. So I think it also depends on where the person is in the company.
There's really a need for people to understand that USB is just one of the many ways that you can get information into the device. So not because you cannot use the USB port and you feel like you cannot copy anything to the laptop or from the laptop. So I think it also just comes with education, awareness, training our users. So in terms of government, what do you think government can do to reduce the number of cybercrime? Because nowadays, if there's any crime happening, there's a high chance it's related to cybercrime, because there's a chance someone have texted or they want to search on Google and all that. I watched one video recently on YouTube where someone was found guilty because of his Google search. So he went on Google and was searching how to kill using a certain product and keeping no evidence. So because of that, it proved already it's you that committed the crime. So what do you think government can do? Yes. Go for it.
I'm not really aware of like how governments do play a role in it or what they can do, but you can also start with introducing bills and acts that can protect the user. Say if the data is now compromised, and who they can go to help them like recover it and those kind of things. Having a government institute that can protect them or can help them to either sue somebody or help them get their data back. I think having a government institution that can do those things with proper individuals, trained individuals, they can help the individual like me to get my things back. Because whenever somebody is hacked or their money is stolen, it's like they just give up. I don't know what to do, I don't know where to go, so I'll just accept my fate. But if there is somebody that can help them to get their information back or get their money back or even just find a way to recover from that, I think it can help them a lot.
Okay, and thank you.
Another thing, okay, to add to Kaylin, another thing the government can do is invest more in training to get more skilled people in different organizations, so that these people in that organizations can teach the others what to do. So they need to just invest more in the trainings because we have a lot of young ones coming up. So if you do invest more in them and then do more CTFs, more everything, like have a conference, a very big conference whereby people are taught regarding the threats that are out there.
Okay.
So that can also work for the government.
What I wanted to add maybe is that I was told that in Israel, before you could do whatever field you wanted to do, you need to go into the army first, army service maybe for a year or so. Just learn how to carry a gun, how to defend yourself and all that. Then from there you can go and do your nursing and other fields. Now why they do that is because they are surrounded by enemies. So meaning at any time war can start. So they want the people to be ready for it. And again, knowing on the digital space, anything can happen. Anyone can also become your enemy. So it's good to equip these people with a cybersecurity skills. So that should be like maybe one of your key subjects, almost at any field. So like we have English across all the fields. So I think cybersecurity can also be one, like just as a subject, even just introduction to cybersecurity for engineers, introduction to cybersecurity for farmers or something like that, just to keep them with these skills, because end of the day, they interact with tech. So they need to know how to use the tech and how to securely use the tech. Because now we can see that with artificial intelligence, someone can almost impersonate you, like your voice, your everything they can impersonate. So these people need to be aware of all these possible threats and also know what crime can come with tech, so they can defend themselves. So I think those are things government can start looking at, coming up with regulations, setting bodies that will be regulating cybersecurity, let's say in Namibia, because right now we don't have that.
And another thing the government can also do, like you said, a platform whereby if a company was attacked, they need to come out to say we were attacked, how were we attacked, so that the others can learn from it. Because you find sometimes where both companies, two companies, got attacked by the same group, and then using the same vectors. So if there's a platform where the company can come out, or they don't need to say their names, it can be anonymous, to say that this company A was attacked in Namibia, by this group, this is what happened, this is their vectors they use, please be out on the look.
So knowledge sharing is very key in cybersecurity, and that's where you get like your intelligence. And I've seen at one company where I used to work, so across the globe, companies that are operating in the same industry, they all share information. Like, no, last week we had this type of attack, this was the IP address, this was the username. So you are already aware and you take the measures. So this was the email address, so you already come on your side, you put all the rules, so you block any traffic related to this because you already know that these guys are malicious. But right now we don't really have such platforms. The platforms are okay, good. So when it comes to cybersecurity industry, what you have discovered is that there are many certificates one can do, many different paths someone can follow. So what are your advice in terms of cybersecurity career? Anyone?
I'd say you can maybe start with like the lower level certifications, like starting with Security Plus and N Plus, just to get a base to understand what is in the field and what to expect. If you do like something like Network Plus, you get to understand the network, how it works. Because I think it's important to also understand that you need to know how something works first before you can protect it. Because now if you think, let me just block every port and just block that and block that, but then you are hindering the business maybe of they use certain things. But then starting out with such certificates, also like CCNA or Security Plus, N Plus, those are kind of the basis of where you can start. And then you can move into a more specialized field where you can go into CEH or threat hunting and those kind of certifications if you want to specialize in something specifically.
Okay, and then also before you start going into cybersecurity, you need to do research. And then people also have this concept that, let's say they want to go into ethical hacking or penetration testing, they think I'm going to be doing coding all day. Meanwhile, majority of the time is spent on reporting, where you will be reporting everything, and then that can become boring, and then that's where people go in and then they're like, but actually this field is boring, but then this is more of what the field is. And then another thing is they need to be more in labs, do this, hack the box, this, try hack me. You need to keep on doing it in order for you to become an expert. Someone once told me, let's say if somebody wants to practicing a guitar, you keep on practicing it. Or if you want to learn a new language, you keep on practicing. You have to keep on speaking it. The same way goes to cybersecurity. It's something that you have to keep on doing. Every week you have 7 days, 1-2 hours you spend just practicing. You have to keep on practicing, evolving yourself.
Okay, that's good. Now, what are those innovations that you have seen in the past like 5 or 10 years in cybersecurity? Like, what are those wow tech that came out in cybersecurity or tools that you are really proud of?
The one that I found now that I just love is Weapalizer.
Oh, okay. The web extension of it's more of like enumeration, footprinting, yeah.
Yes, footprinting. I also like the USB Ninja. I also like the pineapple, the Wi-Fi pineapple. That one is also really nice.
Okay, really?
I don't really use a lot of tools since I'm still new in the field. I have started using, what do you call it, is this tool that I found on Kali Linux. It's called Mimikatz, where you yeah, so I kind of like the way it works, and I am really interested in taking it further, see what else I can do with it, yes, and going further with it.
And one of the innovatives that I actually like is what NAS does. It's just that a lot of people take part in the cyber competitions, but that's also a really nice thing that to take part in.
Yeah, because I think that helps also to boost your skills. And,
but then I don't know if I can say this about the cybersecurity competition. The part that I believe is some people also want to be on the red team side of it. But then the red team, I'm not sure if they changed it last year, but then the red team do not get anything for their work.
As a reward, yeah.
As a reward. That can motivate a lot of people.
I did once. I got a standing ovation, yes.
But then that can motivate the same way as you defended your thing. I will put more in effort because I know there's maybe a 2K. So we are basically fighting for that 5K.
Actually they do. At some point, they also gave us some devices. They give us some devices, but I think it just comes to the budget of the resources that they have at the time of a competition. So if they don't have enough resources, they prioritize the students because most of the red teams or the hackers are already working. So they prioritize more on the students as a motivation for them because you're already in the field and you're already having the money, so there's not much motivation. So I think it's just based on the resources that they have.
But what if the student wants to become the red team side?
Yeah, you can.
Because then they don't have a motivation to like, oh, okay, that was me when I was
it's more of like a personal achievement because when you are defending the network as a student, you feel like it's fun. But with time you realize it becomes boring because you're kind of doing the same thing. So I started as well as a student defending the network. Then I moved to red team, then I moved to infrastructure and moving to coaching, and now I don't do anything anymore. So it just depends on your goals as well. So you can just ask, okay fine, I was a student, but now I want to become on the attacking side. And most of the times they don't even have a lot of attackers. So which also is an opportunity that they will welcome and they will really appreciate that.
Okay.
Okay. Now in cybersecurity, what are those ethical concepts that one has to always take serious or care about? As an ethical hacker, what are those ethics elements that you need to always take serious?
Actually, maybe like privacy. Say if you are now ethical or penetrating a company or you're doing a penetration test for a company, you cannot divulge any of the information to, say, your friends or someone else in the other field or someone outside of the company. So I think it's important that you do take the privacy seriously on what you can and can't divulge. And yeah.
Okay. Now, the question I'm going to ask you, Pandula, is that how can you balance privacy and security? Because we all want privacy, but again, we still want to secure things. So if you say that you all want privacy, then meaning we not even have cameras in the streets and all that because we want our privacy, but again, crime might also be higher. So how do you balance the two?
How can you balance that?
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that one. How you can balance privacy and security. Okay, now I have to think of it.
Yes, tell us. Because And again, this question actually is related to one of my assignments when I was doing my master's. The subject is information security. Now, the question was in UK. Many people were complaining about, I think it was 2021, complaining about the security that the government was trying to bring in place and the privacy, because government wanted to have CCTVs almost everywhere and all that. Now the citizens feels like that you're going to monitor them, so it's a breach of their privacy. But on the other side, these same students are complaining that we are not safe, there's too much crime. So it's so difficult to balance the two. And as part of my writings, what I've mentioned is that to make these people understand why you are doing it. So what's the problem first? And you break it down. So okay, fine, the problem is the crime. Now, we need to know who are the people committing the crime. So visibility is important, because if you all agree that visibility is important, then what are the tools that are going to give us visibility? It's the cameras. So now you already move one step closer to you implementing your security and people forgetting that privacy should really be a concern. So it's very difficult to keep it at a 50-50, but if you really want privacy, then you must know that your security will be lowered. And if you want security to be higher, your privacy will go down. So that's something that we all need to agree and accept. And again, we just have to put some limits to say, okay, fine, we want to balance the two, but how far can you go for security so it does not breach the privacy? And how far can you go for privacy? Saying like, at your house, government cameras there, so that's the privacy that you get. But by the time you're in the street doesn't belong to you, it belongs to the government. So there we can put cameras, and yeah, I think those are a few things that I can mention.
And to add to what you said about visibility, some people will feel comfortable if you say what you're doing with my data, or what you're doing with my, like let's say if you have a camera at a kindergarten, some parents will be like, no, you're looking at my kids, but then you can give them access to the camera. So, but then some parents, okay, it's still gonna, like you said, it's gonna be a 50-50, 60-70 story. So yeah, so just some, if they know what you're gonna do with the data.
Yeah, so really giving a why to the users and how we're going to keep the data safe, that gives them some comfort as well. Yes, Kellen, do you have something to add? So, with cybersecurity, are there any communities that you guys know one can maybe visit or be part of, just to help them understand what are the different threats people are facing in Namibia and what are the solutions that are being put in place?
So currently, I do not know of any of the. I only know of international communities, but
why don't you start one? Yes.
We could start one, but then wouldn't that be a breach of privacy? Okay, you don't just mention which companies it was.
Yes. Okay, you can just say that this company A in Windhoek that was hacked. Now this company operates, let's say, in the financial industry, so that if I'm also in finance, I see that this threat might also affect me, or this malicious activity might also occur in my company. This is how it happened, how the malicious activity took place, this how long it took them to contain it, these are the different controls that they put in place, and like the lessons learned and all that, what are the different teams that got involved, maybe police was also involved and all that. So those are information that we can share, because we have to look at cybersecurity as like everyone's responsibility, and everyone needs to come on board to mitigate this. This is a threat that we'll all be facing. So it's either you as a person or your close people that are going to face any cybersecurity related crime. So if you come together, we do the knowledge sharing, we discuss the solutions and all that, we're going to help each other to improve, to do better. So we have seen it like with COVID. So everyone was kind of united. That if you know that this person that just passed by had like COVID or something, like, you inform your neighbor that please be aware, or do this, take these measures, or go for COVID vaccine and all that. So we should not even feel ashamed that we are hacked. Let's accept that yes, you will be hacked, because there's no company that can say they will never be hacked unless they don't even know that they are already even hacked. So those are things that we should just consider. So yes, you have a young person fresh from university. This person doesn't really know whatever digital threats that they can face out there. So whatever different guidelines that we can give to this person when they're going out into the market when it comes to cybersecurity threats. Because you know, when you're going to start your job, like on your first days or first month, you don't want to be the reason that the company was breached, because that's going to kill you for the rest of your life. You will never forget it. So what can you tell them as guidelines when it comes to digital threats at companies for a fresh graduate?
If you were regarding if you were working on emails a lot, if now you have an office job or something, I would say you can go maybe on YouTube or you can go on any platform that can teach you just to see what are you most likely to expect. Especially if you are working on emails, you're most likely to experience phishing emails and those things. So if you can maybe just give yourself an idea of what to look out for, in what to expect in the email. A lot of times it's things that it's too good to be true. You know that you never entered a competition or something like that, and all of a sudden you won something. So these are just kind of things to take in account. Everyone wants to win $1 million, but did you actually enter the competition? Stuff like that. So just taking into account what are you most likely to expect.
Another thing is also know your industry. Let's say if you're hired by a bank, know what kind of attacks are out there for people that are in the banking industry.
Yeah.
If you go into retail, what kind of attacks are in the retail industry. So that's something that you should also know. And then also you need to keep on practicing, because in real world industry is not the same as what you learn in university. I learned it the hard way. So what you get taught is not really, so you need to keep on practicing.
I don't know why many people say that what they learn at university is not the same if what they are seeing in the industry. I don't really believe that 100%, because I think you still learn the same or you still discover the same, but it's just maybe the environment that changes. And again, maybe at school it was just theory, and when you come here it's now practical, but the concept kind of remain the same. You see, yeah.
So for that one, I don't want to blame the universities. It's just, since you said it's the environment that changed, there is no a stimulation for them to be in that environment to know this is what's gonna happen. Let me use an example. Let me say I have all these courses. I think this is how the industry is gonna be, hacking, all that. And then you come into the working industry. It's just you doing reports, you reading emails. It's become so boring.
So industry is more boring than school.
It's just you don't know. And then in the working industry, you get thrown with a lot of things. Even social skills. You get thrown with somebody stressing you out here, or especially if I have to use, attackers usually use time where people are at the most vulnerable. Usually early in the morning or late at night or on a public holiday. So school doesn't teach you that what to do when I'm bored. It just doesn't prepare you well enough for the working industry. And then when you're in the working industry, you're just so shocked because you're like, I don't know what to do.
But also what companies can do is that when individuals join the company, just to give them let's say the cybersecurity policy or information security policy, so they just go through so they can also understand whatever do and don't. Because if you don't receive it, they might do something, then later on you punish them for something that they were not taught or were aware of, and it's not really fair to do that. So I think information security policy should be part of the company handbook. So when you join the company, they give you information security policy, all those HR documents, and just to make sure that the person is, because now we know many companies are going cloud, so many things are being tech related, cloud related, cyber related. So if this individual is not cyber security aware or equipped, you just expose the company.
Yeah, adding to that, that's where I also believe mentorship.
Yes.
Because if I finish university, I don't know a lot of people in this industry, it will be great to know somebody that can mentor me.
But how will you know that person? Is there any platform where someone can go and search for these people? Or how would they know that this person can be a mentor?
Currently, I do not know of any program of whereby people can go for mentorship. I'm not sure if NAST has a mentorship program.
I don't think so.
Yeah, where people can just get mentored. Especially, I feel like that's also, if you do well, you must have, I think you have a lecturer that you report to, but then to have a mentor that's in the field, that, the mentor should have 3 or 4 people. You assign somebody in the industry to say, let's say, no, Sir is working at
4 years, he doesn't know my name.
Yes. Instead of pronouncing it wrong. Okay, let me say Lucky is working at M&M. Lucky I will assign. Then you email Lucky. Lucky I will assign, because you will get different people. A lot of people will say give a list of mentors. There's a lot of people that will like, no, it's fine. You can assign 4 people to me. I will be their mentor for the internship period, which is just a 3 months.
I feel so happy. I feel so happy because my current company does that.
Oh, that's
so
nice.
when you join, like when I went to Nigeria, they give you like a mentor that's going to be with you for 6 months. Now this mentor is not just in your field. It can be someone into finance, but he's just explaining to you the company, the policies, the vision and all that, just explaining to you everything about the company. And it makes you so comfortable already because you have someone that you can go talk to in case you have issues. So it's really important to have such.
So some companies have like that graduate program, and sometimes your manager or something will be your mentor for that entire graduate program. So if you have any questions, any concerns, they can always help you with it. Because when I did my internship, I had a very great manager at the time. She used to help me a lot, guide me on where to go.
But was she better than me?
No. She wasn't like in the cyber field, but she was in IT. Yeah. So it did help me to guide me on where to go, what to do.
I have a joke to tell you guys. I once was your leader, I will not say manager, I once was your leader as well. I think it's so important to have a mentor, even when you're at a leadership position. Have a mentor because sometimes you're given a position because of your skills, which is sometimes technical skills, but in terms of leader, and when you don't have someone to guide you, you might make a lot of mistakes, and it's up to you to really learn from those mistakes, or sometimes you might not even have an opportunity to learn from the mistake because you're already out of a company. So yeah, I see mentorship being very key for especially fresh graduate, but anyone can actually be in need of that.
Like in the internship period, internship program for NAS. I know a lot of people that wouldn't mind mentoring somebody, just because it's just 3 months. Once a week, you come talk to me about things that
someone is willing to pay me for that.
Someone is willing to pay, but
I'm like, really? I'm like, no, I would do it for free. Now there's even another lady, she's a manager somewhere, she's like, no, can you mentor me? I'm like, huh? Like, what are you saying?
I don't think like having a mentor, it does also kind of give you that kind of head start, so that you already know where you want to go, where you want to do those things. Because if you're on your own, you kind of have to try to refine what you want to do. But having a mentor does give you that head start.
Yeah, if I look at myself, I started with telecommunication, then I moved to sysadmin networks, moved to digital forensics, now I'm into cyber. You see, so but if I had maybe a mentor by then, I could have just gone straight maybe to cyber or something like that. But because I do not have, so we keep on trying. But again, today I'm proud because if I sit with people that did telecommunication, I will have a say or will understand what they're saying. Networking, sysadmin and all this, so yeah. Yes, you wanted to say something?
No, but mentors are great.
Okay, so I think there's one thing that we did not really explain to our viewers, which is threats. So we covered cybercrime, but what is a threat in cybersecurity?
So a threat is a potential risk. No, there's also a risk.
What is a threat?
So how do I put it?
So when someone says threat actor, what does it mean?
Because the way I understand it, isn't a threat also, it's not something, it's a potential risk.
No.
To that.
Something that can cause harm.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's something that can cause harm. So it's an element that can cause harm. A person can be a threat because a person can cause harm. Virus is a threat to your laptop because it can compromise your data. So anything that can cause harm is a threat. Cool. So what are those measures that one can put in place to prevent all these threats from taking advantage of the weaknesses that you might have in your systems?
Okay, so if there are patches out, always patch, but always have a rollback plan, because sometimes if the patch comes out and then that patch is actually opening a door for another vulnerability. So just have a rollback plan and always have your patches up to date. Always upgrade, like if you have to upgrade something, you need to upgrade it. And let's say if some organizations were so long into, let's say they have some devices that have reached the end of life.
End of life, yeah.
Yes. So they cannot decommission it.
Yeah.
So you need to put full measures, like you need to air gap.
Yeah. What is air gap?
So air gap is basically you are separating There's
no internet connectivity, so it
Yes.
sits on its own there. So which you see a lot with like OT systems. And again, what you can also do is that you know that this device cannot be patched. Now you have to start thinking of compensating controls to put in place, because you cannot leave this device on its own because the business might be impacted. So what you can say, okay fine, I'm gonna segregate the networks to say, okay fine, this device is going to be isolated from our corporate environment. So if someone wants to reach this device, you need to connect to this network for you to go and reach that device. So those are the different measures companies can actually put in place as well.
always look at your policies. Update them always.
Yes.
And then also, if you do buy
And yes, you're just making me feel like I'm at the right company.
if
I'm
you
not trying to brag about my company because I didn't even mention the name, but if you look at all our policies, it's mentioned. So we rate our policies based on the risk. So if you say like risk is like above average, so meaning every year we need to review that policy. You see, and one person is accountable for that.
Yes.
So when you look at already the date that policy was published, if it's more than 2 years or more than a year, and you look at the risk rating, we know that this person did not update your policy. So take actions, or there's punishment and all that. So yeah.
Do your risk assessments every year or after every 6 months, depending on the company. Vulnerability assessments. And then another thing is, if you do buy security controls like firewalls and all that, the people you put in place, train them how to use that. And then I know for most firewalls there's a tick like auto update, but then you should have somebody in place that will go look at the updates, make sure, because sometimes updates fail. Make sure that update actually went through. Yes, so you need to basically train those people and then use awareness.
Okay, Kayla?
Just to add on to like the risk assessment and those things, you kind of also need to do a threat assessment to see what kind of risk this threat does pose to your company. Because something could be like a threat, but it has a low risk. And something can be a threat and have a high risk, but then you need to understand what kind of threats your company is exposed to. So you can also do like threat hunting, threat intelligence.
And so what you're also adding is that do like business impact analysis, because let's say the threat to maybe this glass might be it, like possibility of a wind to come. So wind will be a threat to the glass and it might fall. So now you ask yourself like, is it worth it? Me building a wall here to protect this, because if this glasses goes down, maybe it's just a $20. So I can buy more of these glasses than me putting a wall. So it's also important to do a business impact analysis and look at like the control I'm trying to bring in. Is it more expensive than the asset itself? Because you cannot protect something that is, you cannot bring in a control that is too expensive than the device itself. It's better to lose that device and keep on buying and so business impact analysis is very important to do. So we have to do a lot of assessments and also to look at our threat landscape, because if you don't know how far your IT is going, it's difficult for you to protect. If today someone tells you go and put a fence or a wall around a tosha, you have to ask them how big is a tosha. So you need to get the area, you need to get the size. So it's the same for IT as well. If you don't know how big a company is in terms of tech, you will not know what you're going to protect, because they might have information on the cloud and you're only protecting what they currently have on premise, forgetting that they also have cloud applications or services. Good. So final questions for our listeners. What can you tell them for them to stay safe online, to avoid all these threats that are there, and for them not to commit any cybercrime and not to be a victim of a cybercrime? So what can you recommend them to do to stay safe?
Always be cautious about what you click. Like she previously mentioned, if you see a link that says if you click here you will get $1,000, do not click there. Attackers became more sophisticated. Like they usually say, a dog is a man's best friend, AI is a attacker's best friend. So same goes to, they started doing now the Q-bot. Not Q-bot, but it's the scanner, whereby they scan like send a code, QR code. So and a user who might scan it. So they just don't scan anything. And then additional thing is what you post. Be cautious about what you post on the internet. Let's say if you're taking a screenshot and then you are posting it, anything can be used. So just be cautious about.
I'll give you a scenario of that. There's one police lady, I think I can say it, it's here in Namibia. So I was going through TikTok and I saw, it was my first time to discover the live on TikTok. So I saw the live, I'm like, okay, let me see what is this all about. Then these officers in their office, things are written at the back, She's live like this. And I'm like, I can see numbers there and names. Then I had to call one police lady and I told her like, no, there's something like this happening. Please, you guys must just bring awareness to your people because you never know. There might be a password also written there. There might be more confidential things. So yeah, they should really take what they post on social media very serious. Yeah. So I just wanted to add on what you said. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
Yes, Killing.
Also, just to add on, like being cautious. When you are on the internet, if something just doesn't feel right, it's best to just leave it alone. Then, like if you receive an email that just doesn't seem right, it's best to then call the person, confirm is this you, something like that. So just be cautious on how you act on the internet, what sites you visit, and those kind of things. Small things that you can do yourself that can actually help you in the long run.
Yeah, and I wanted to add something like with online shopping. Something I just thought right now is that most of the times we feel okay to put our credit card details on those websites because we feel like it's secure and all that. But what if you have put your details and there's no like integrations or APIs, things like that? So the details you're putting is actually just going to a form in the database, because normally what these vendors do, they don't save your credit card details. But what if this website that you're visiting is actually malicious? So when you're putting all these banking details, it's capturing it at the back here, the way you tapped it. So we need to be aware of all these things, and especially sites that have just been created like a year ago, and so just try to stay away from them. Do a lot of research. As mentioned by Aristotle, just go and put the website there and see if any vendor might have already flagged the website. Look at like who might have already reported about these sites, or when was this site registered, are these people even legitimate, genuine, all those things. So I think it's really important for us to do and to really stay safe. Yeah.
And then even in terms of now organizations, something I wanted to add previously is we need to get top management also very much involved. That's the most fastest way you can get the users to respond to cybersecurity, because they sometimes see no, top management is not really involved in this. That's why they are not that serious. So everything.
And how do you get them involved?
How do you get them involved?
I will tell you guys a joke, but I will not mention the company. At one company I worked, I asked the owner of the company if I could do like a small pen test. He said, yeah, go, like do everything that you want to do and all that. And I could see people's salary, people's personal information and all that. Because some users use the company laptop to do private things. So now because it's a company laptop, it's not yours, so you have the right to do everything there. So I saw many things about these individuals, and everyone kind of woke up and I started taking security more serious. And I think sometimes you need to do such things where you just get permission from one person who's top. Say, can I just assess our team so that we can just wake them up? Because if that does, think of it as like at your house. Someone might come and say, oh, you need a gate here, you need the electric fence and all that. You might say, no, I don't need that. Okay, cool. But the day someone will come and steal at your place, the next day we'll go and get those electric fence. So sometimes we have to wake these people up so that they can take you more serious. But which is not really a good thing that we would advise. But you might be left out of no options and only choose that as a route as well.
And an example, they can do simulations where only the top management knows about it, and then we say, oh, we've been attacked, just to see what's going to happen.
But again, that's not really solving the issue of top going down, because now you're only assessing this lower level. So that's why if you assess these top people, expose them, scare them, they will not start telling you what are we going to do next. And you tell them, no, we're going to have champions in every department. So which is, let's say you as a manager of HR, you are responsible for everyone under HR to attend the training, to be able to detect all these malicious activities and all that, and put it as part of the KPIs. Because if I know that, let's say December, I'm going to get my bonus, and my bonus is depending on how I'm performing in cybersecurity, by default, I'm going to give my best, because I know even if I've done so well in my job, but if this carries 40% of my performance, I know I will never get 70% bonus. So I will have to give my best. So I think we're at the age where people are so want to be motivated by something, even if you are doing it to help them, but they still want you to give them something. Like, what's in for me? So what's in for you is like, if you pass, you get this 40%. So you already like guaranteed 40%. Even if you did not perform well, you already have your 40% guaranteed, because you have attended the training, you have passed all the simulations and all that. So yeah, that's what I can add. Good. Thank you for coming. Hope to see you in the next episodes. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you for having us. Sorry.